Breaking news from D.C. Trump just fired them all. By Al Waisman for freedomdaily.com. Now, this truly is great news. President Trump is really focused on draining the swamp. The obvious bias in the crooked Hillary Clinton email investigation, which was shown by the now embattled former FBI Director James Comey, his right-hand man, Andrew McCabe, and the now disgraced Bureau's agent Peter Strzok, who sent over 10,000 texts to his mistress with messages showing disdain towards candidate Trump while pledging to not let crooked Hillary lose the 2016 election, have all made incalculable damage to the federal law enforcement agency's reputation, damage which is unrepairable. Up until now, the fallout has gone as far as to implicate the FBI in the now infamous work of fiction, which is the Fusion GPS anti-Trump dossier, which has led McCabe and James Baker to either announce early retirements or to be reassigned. But according to reporter Sharyl Attkisson, the fallout may not be over yet. 8 high-ranking DOJ FBI officials have been removed, reassigned, or are rumored to be leaving, including top agents who worked on 2 high-profile probes, Clinton mishandling of classified info, and Trump-Russia collusion investigation. The timing of all this is fascinating, considering McCabe is already set to retire earlier next year after a barrage of attacks for his corruption. McCabe's retirement announcement comes just days after a major shakeup at the FBI, where Wray removed Comey's snitch and suspected leaker James Baker from his top post as general counsel. President Trump then added salt to the wounds by blasting Andrew McCabe for his obvious corruption and went as far as accusing him of running the clock in order to retire with full benefits with only 90 days to go. This guy shouldn't be retiring. He should be in federal prison. Absolutely. Via The Spectator, special report, enough FBI and Justice Department corruption needs to end. Given the latest revelations, it's time for a major change in course. Last week, nobody knew who Peter Strzok was. He's certainly not anonymous anymore. Very quietly this summer, Strzok was reassigned from Trump-Russia collusion probe special counsel Robert Mueller's team after it was discovered that he'd sent anti-Trump messages to a woman with whom he was having extramarital sexual congress. Who always was a member of that team. Okay, that information didn't reach the public eye until this weekend, and developments since offer a pretty damn good explanation why. Peter Strzok is everything, as it turns out. Strzok looks like the man at the center of what can be best described as the complete collapse of the FBI and Justice Department's trustworthiness and credibility. A collapse which is triggering a crisis in the public confidence in the federal government as an institution we consent to have power over us. Strzok didn't just serve as an investigator on the Trump collusion probe, which has denigrated into, as Andrew McCarthy ably laid out at National Review on Monday, an obstruction investigation. For the unwashed among us, that means it's essentially a bug hunt for as many scooter libbies as Mueller and his team can smoke out. Oh no, Strzok was involved in the Hillary Clinton email investigation, heavily involved in fact, so much so that it said it was Strzok who changed the language in the FBI Director James Comey's exoneration speech to reflect extreme carelessness rather than gross negligence that describes Clinton's behavior in running her government emails through that illegal bathroom closet server. That's a distinction with a difference. by the way, because it fueled the narrative that Clinton's patently illegal behavior wasn't punishable under a statute she clearly violated because an element of intent not necessary in that statute wasn't met. It wasn't even that wasn't even in the statute. We're just finding out about Strzok. It's a great bet. We'll uncover a whole lot more about him, including there are rumors that it may have been Strzok who weaponized the Fusion GPS PP dossier into the collusion investigation in the first place. Someone at the FBI apparently did that, and someone took that dossier to a FISA court in pursuit of warrants to surveil the Trump campaign in an effort by the Obama administration to spy on the political opposition during a presidential election. It might well have been him. We're also finding out about another hopelessly compromised member of the Mueller investigative team, namely Andrew Weissmann. And what we're finding out isn't all that good. It turns out that Weissmann is the federal prosecutor who took down Enron, Arthur Andersen, and Merrill Lynch in separate cases, all of which resulted in convictions which were overturned all or in part due to prosecutorial misconduct. Weissmann was reportedly the genius behind the government's armed pre-dawn raid at the home of former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort in order to push an investigation resulting in charges of essentially consulting for a foreign political party and laundering money which was not illegal. They didn't do that to the Podestas, did they, right? There are other questionable characters in Mueller's cabal of Democrat partisans out for blood. To describe each would involve making this column into a book. I hear you. To summarize, the Mueller probe is rotten to the core. It's been nearly a full year in existence and is no closer to finding evidence that Trump colluded with the Russians than he was when he started. And to date, all he's managed is a pair of guilty pleas based purely out of conduct during the investigation, with Flynn's the most significant. Yeah, whoop-de-doo, right? Understand that there was absolutely no underlying wrongdoing associated with Flynn's guilty plea. As a member of the Trump transition team, it was right and proper for him to communicate with his counterparts in foreign countries, whether Russian or otherwise. He was being spied upon by the intelligence community thanks to a FISA warrant issued, we assume thanks to that Fusion GPS dossier being weaponized against Trump, and he was asked about things he said the FBI already had transcripts of. A perjury trap was set for Flynn, and he fell into it, just as Libby did when a different partisan Democrat prosecutor went fishing for process crimes after finding no underlying illegality. This isn't a banana republic, at least not yet, but it'll become one on Trump's watch if the president doesn't act to put a stop to the runaway corruption in the Justice Department. Here's how to do that. First, Trump should pardon Flynn for the lie he admitted to the FBI immediately. Only that, though. Flynn shouldn't get a free pass for other things he's done, like, for example, his Turkish escapades, which might well bear further investigation. Next, Trump should see to it that Strzok and Weissmann and a number of others on Mueller's team who are clearly compromised, they'd be disqualified as jurors or on any case involving the president as having conflicts, much less as investigators, are fired, not tomorrow, today, this minute. And Trump should tell Mueller he has until Christmas to bring an indictment against someone for collusion with the Russians, or else he's fired and his probe gets disbanded. This investigation can't be open-ended, and it also can't be allowed to be perpetual motion impeachment machine. Not because it's bad for Trump, but because it is poisonous to American democracy. That this witch hunt might go on while the same people involved in it were actively at work exonerating Clinton. Trump should also fire Assistant Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and Assistant FBI Director Andrew McCabe, both of whom are hopelessly compromised as well, and conduct a top-down review of FBI and DOJ personnel to rid those agencies of partisan political corruption that clearly pervades them. There can be no mistake about the legitimacy of the deep state coup against Trump his supporters have claimed. It's real. The question now is what the president is going to do about it. The Democrats will use the 2018 midterm elections as a public referendum on whether they're to be given the political power to impeach the president, and Mueller's probe is nothing more than an effort to legitimize that naked grasp at the brass ring. Trump may have been practicing a bit of rope-a-dope to smoke out just how empty this collusion narrative has been, but we're past that now. Now it's time to end the circus and turn out the clowns. Enough already. Get rid of these people. But the best news comes from the fact that with James Comey and Andrew McCabe both gone and Baker reassigned, the swamp seems to be draining itself. But in the FBI's case, they are so far gone that the best course of action might be just to disband it and start a new organization. Please share if you agree the FBI needs to be disbanded ASAP. Absolutely. Absolutely. I agree. But I guess Trump is holding out to, because we wouldn't have learned about these swamp creatures, how deep the swamp is. But again, how much can you take? Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.